Okay, we're live.
Are we live? Yeah,
Hey
we're
guys.
live. Oh my God. It's noon on Friday, December 17th. And this is news that you can use from YAA. And today we're doing something just a little different. There is no Zach today. It's the F&I goddess herself, Miss Kimberly Klein. Well, to quote Bill Withers and Grover Washington Jr. from Grover Washington's album Wine Light from 1980. Kimberly, it's just the two of us. Would you
It's
happen to
just
have
the
that
two.
album to share with the folks out there?
Wait a second. I remember that album. I think, oh, hang on a minute. This one?
That album right there,
This
featuring the Bill
album?
Withers song, Just the Two of Us. And that's right, it's just Miss Kimberly Klein and myself today. And if this goes really, really well, we could put Zach right out of a job.
We
Uh,
might. We
uh,
might do it, Ray.
Yeah, I understand that, one of the things that Zach likes to do at the beginning of the show is to say hi to everybody that's out there. So Jordan, welcome to you. Justice, welcome. Space, aka, well, it's really Mario. Phil's with us. Igor's with us. I think I saw. Yep, Melissa's in the house.
Melissa.
John. Yeah, we've got a Neil is here. We have our normal cast and crew. So Kimberly, for today's show, you know me, I don't really prepare. I rely entirely on my wits throughout the day, and hopefully my wit won't let me down today. But I thought if it was okay with you, since you are indeed the F&I goddess of YAA, um, I thought maybe we could take a fairly deep dive into F&I, things like buy rates, what impacts them, and why banks might compete on buy rates. So I thought I would rely on a little bit of your expertise. What exactly, when we in the business refer to the term buy rates, what are we talking about?
Okay, let's do it, Ray. I love this. So, buy rate. All right, let me back up. I'm a finance manager. I'm in my office. I have a customer that I'm going to send a loan through a portal, typically called Dealer Track,
Yes.
um, and then to some banks that I know the structure of this purchase is going to fit well and pay me the most money. So that goes out to a few banks and it comes back with an interest rate on my little approval. That interest rate is called a buy rate. What happens next?
So the buy rate is, if I want to make sure I understand this, and I want to make sure everybody in the audience understands this.
Yeah,
So the buy rate is the approved rate for that customer if if you wanted to actually give that rate to the customer, because it's up to your discretion as to whether or not the customer would actually get that rate. Since the customer isn't the one that submitted the application to that lending institution, you get to decide or share with them what their rate's going to be. The bank has said it's going to be X, and you can mark it up to Y if you would like.
right. And typically on 60 months, on a 60-month loan, most banks will allow you to mark it up 2 to 2.5 points.
Okay.
On a 72-month loan or anything greater than 60 or 63 months, most banks will allow you to mark it up 2 points. So if the rate that comes over on that approval is 3.9,
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to mark it up to?
I'm guessing you're going to go for the 6.4, because you're going to go the full 2.5 points on that 60-month note.
On a 60-month note, yes.
Yes.
Um, so that's what buy rate, and it's also what sell rate is.
Okay.
So that
Yes. Please
there are
explain
two
the difference.
terms.
Yeah. The buy rate is what the bank said that customer qualifies for if you want to go to the lowest rate possible that you can get for them. The
Yes.
rate that you use for the contract, which is higher than that lowest rate possible, is what's known as the sell rate. So there's a spread from what you paid for the money to what you're selling the customer the money for. What happens with that spread?
That spread goes into a pot called the
Okay.
finance pot, and
Yes.
finance managers get paid off of that pot of money. And I will tell you that let's take, and it's a percentage. There's a
Yes.
split, okay, Ray. There's a split between the dealership and the bank. Um, so, for example, let's say you had a $50,000 loan and you did that at 72 months.
Okay.
That's a lot of money, Ray.
That's
That's a
that
lot of money.
if you did a 2-point spread between the buy rate and what you the contract rate ended up being, a 2-point spread on a $50,000 note would be, if I were to guess, 3 to $4,000.
I'm gonna say 3,000. Yes, thirty
So
five hundred again, depending on the split. Yes, it's
and
a
the
lot.
deal and the usual split is 70% to the dealership and 30% to the bank.
Typical. That's a
S-
very typical split, and but it does depend on the bank. It
Yes.
really depends on the bank.
So on that $50,000 loan, the dealership could be picking up an extra $3 to $3,500 in income just for having sold the money 2 points higher than what they bought the money for. And that is
Right.
and that's revenue.
That's revenue. So let's add to that, Ray. Let's
Okay.
say for that same customer at $50,000 on a 72-month loan, I held 2 points, or I
Yes.
marked it up for 2 points. So let's say I'm going to be conservative.
Yeah.
Let's say I made $3,000 in the spread between the buy rate and the sell rate.
Okay.
Well, now the customer bought, I don't know, three products. The first one being a VSC, vehicle service contract. And as a finance manager, I might make $2,000. All right. So
Hmm.
now we just turned that $3,000 deal into a
$5,000 deal just on the finance side of things. This has nothing to do with what the sales department made at
right,
the agreed upon selling price of the vehicle.
right. And let's say the customer got gap coverage, which is very important in today's market. And let's
Yes.
say that they also got, I don't know, a dent and ding package.
Okay.
And let's say I made again, I'm gonna be conservative on this. Let's say I made $600 on each. So another $1,200.
So now you're up to a total of $6,200 just on the finance side of things.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And
Yes.
so that's a good day. Now, let's say I've got
Well,
many of those.
for some folks, that would be a good month.
You are not kidding.
Yeah.
You are not kidding. So that's how money is made in the finance office
Okay. Now
traditionally.
let me ask you another silly question. So let's say you submitted the customer to bank A that gives you a 3.9% buy rate.
Mhm.
And you decide, well, let me see what bank B might say. And maybe bank B says, well, we'll give you a 4.29% buy rate. And you go back to bank B and say, well, bank A gave me 3.9. What can you do to better that? Will a bank negotiate with you and maybe then say, well, okay, we'll give you 3.69 or 3.79 to try and steal that loan from bank A?
Mhm.
So,
Sure. Sure. And that's the relationship that a finance manager has with their buyers from these different banks. So, absolutely, I can play one bank against the other. Uh, I want to know of obviously who's going to pay me the most.
yes,
Is the spread going to be bigger with this bank? Is the spread going to be bigger with that bank? But what happens if a customer comes in and says, you know what, guys, I have 2.9 with my credit union. I think I'm going to go with them.
yes,
Well, as a finance manager, that just changed everything, didn't it? It just changed everything. Now I've got a customer that kind of sounds like they know what they might be talking about. And I know that in order to get their financing, I just went from $3,000 spread maybe down to, I don't know, $300 at buy rate.
yeah, you might just have to take a flat. but
Yep.
the
I might
flat
just
is better than zero.
The flat is better than zero. And here's a little secret. If I can, if I'm going to be giving away a rate at buy rate,
Yes.
at least as a finance manager, I know that I might have a shot at product, because who wouldn't want to throw in a product at such a low interest rate?
Hmm.
Now, I can tell you that there were probably three credit unions at the most that I couldn't beat no matter what. They were
Yes.
killer. They always had the best rates. They were so good. But most of the time, a finance manager can beat the interest rate of a credit union. Do they want to? Depends on where they're sitting in their pay plan.
Yep.
But if I'm going to give away that 2.9 buy rate, at least I know I have a shot of that customer financing in some products.
Let me ask you a silly question. When, for instance, manufacturers offer 0% interest for 60 months, and the customers know about it because, well, I don't know, the manufacturers all over TV telling the world about it. Um,
Hmm.
and as a finance manager, you finance managers tend to hate that because all they get is a flat that might only be $100 flat or a $200 flat for placing the loan, because, well, the lending company isn't making any money on it, so it's
Right.
costing them $100 or 200 to pay you for having processed the paperwork. um, so I know most finance managers I worked with hated that, but the one thing I would think that as a finance manager you would love about that is the fact that you could then say to a customer, well, you know there's no extra interest when you buy this dent and ding protection or this tire and wheel protection. You are buying it for straight retail, or what we sell for. There's no upcharge, there's no interest that's going to be paid on that. Your life just became so much easier when it comes to selling that because there's no interest charge.
Right. And so a good finance manager is going to present the products as they must do to 100% of the buyers in such a way that they show them the value of said product instead of cramming it down their throats. Let me show you the value of it. And yes, you can do this at 0%, which kind of leads us along to, do you want to see payments, or do you want to know?
How much each of these items costs?
Yes. So it's really great that you can finance these products in, but maybe not so great if your vehicle service contract's costing you $4,000.
Is so
Not so good.
so you get to sell the product and include it with 0% financing when that's available. And you use that. Most good F&I people will use that to their advantage to never really explain what the cost of each item is. Now, if I may, typically in finance, what would you say on say a vehicle service contract? The typical markup would be on a vehicle service contract, percentage wise.
A typical markup on a vehicle service contract is going to be anywhere from $1,100 to $3,500. So,
200 to 300%
yes,
markup. So if
yes,
it costs the dealership $1,000 for that vehicle service contract, it would not be unreasonable for the dealership to say it's 29.95, two
absolutely.
thousand nine hundred ninety five dollars,
Bingo.
and meanwhile they're making $2,000 on that
Yes,
$1,000 warranty.
you got it.
That's pretty normal.
That's pretty normal.
Tire and wheel, if tire and wheel is probably one of the best buys in F&I, because typically the markup, even if it costs the dealership 800 and you're selling it for $1,600, the cost of tires and wheels today are so damn expensive that if you were to use it once or twice, you will have gotten your money's worth out of it. But typically something like that would be double the cost of the
Hmm.
item.
Yes. Usually double, maybe not quite that much.
Okay.
Maybe right under.
Okay, so if it cost the dealership $800, you might be selling it for $1,400 or
Yes.
1,200, something like that. But there's
Yeah.
still a sizable markup in it.
There is still a sizable markup in it. And
Okay,
I mean, the biggest key here, Ray, is that it is 100% up to the finance manager as to how much they mark these products up. And so that's why you get it for one price, and the
mhm,
next guy that comes in negotiates that price and gets it for a much different
price.
price.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize is that all of these products that are offered in the finance department are negotiable.
They
And
sure are.
and if you're financing them, you don't want to just know how it impacts your payment. You want to know what the cost of each one of those items would be
You
so that
sure do.
you could then figure out how it might impact your payment. Um, I want to ask you a question, and this isn't anything that we talked about before the show.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
well, um, but I think you can handle it. Have
Okay.
Have you ever heard in all your years of doing what you did in the automobile industry, have you ever heard of a finance person saying to a customer, "Well, if you were to take this warranty,
Mm.
I would be able to lower your interest rate." Have you
Oh,
ever heard of a finance person saying that or doing that in order to help close the sale?
I certainly have.
Is that
Yes, I have.
a legitimate way to do it?
No. No, it really is not, Ray. It is not. Now, there is
Yes.
one case only, in where, yes, there is truth to that statement, and that would be on an LTV, not so much LTV, but on a loan limit. Let's say
Yeah.
you're at $25,000 and you're at buy rate, but the lender has a large loan discount starting at $30,000.
Mhm.
So if I can get you to finance more, get some products in there,
Gotcha.
I legitimately can get you a lower interest rate via buy rate because the lender provides that to me.
Gotcha. But
That's it. That's it. There are
otherwise, that they're just really saying to you, if you buy product, I'll lower the rate. If
oh
you don't
god.
buy product, I'm keeping the rate where it is, even though I could give it to you for that rate I just offered it to you for if you buy more.
No, you
And
cannot tie products to interest rate.
well, you
No.
shouldn't, but it happens
It
often.
does happen. Yes,
Yeah.
it does happen.
And it's unfortunate. If let me ask you another silly question. We're in the finance office, and the customer really kind of sort of likes some of the things that you're showing them, but they don't want to finance them. Can they either pay cash or put them on a credit card?
That is such a great question, Ray. That is such a great question because yes, they certainly can. They sure can. Put them on a credit card. It will show on your purchase order and your contract as money down.
Yes.
Okay, so you're paying for it. It's kind of like paying for taxes, tags, and title. That's going to show as money down.
Yes.
But yeah, absolutely. Great question. People don't realize that you don't have to throw everything into the loan.
Well, and if you're getting something other than 0% interest,
Yeah.
if you're at 3.9%, well, you're paying interest on the money you borrowed to finance those
Yes.
products. So if you pay cash for those products, then you're just paying for the products and you're not paying interest on top of it as well. So
You got it.
there's a little way, if as a customer you're interested in some of these things, you can actually purchase them and mitigate some of your interest charges that you would have on your normal car loan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I could say this, as I've said it so many times before, that these products in a manufacturer dealership are not bad products. There are one or two that I dislike, and
Yes.
they are the ones that have been taken out of the finance office and put on the front end, like a theft kind of thing. Not a fan of that. But Products like a VSC or gap coverage or tire and wheel, I've used, my son has used, I know a lot of people that have used that product. Um, these administrators out there that only contract with dealerships,
Mm-hmm.
they have to jump some major sales hoops to get their feet in the door of
Yes.
a dealership to have the privilege to sell their products, to have their products sold in the finance office. So they have to be a certain standard. They're not going to go in there and sell absolute crap on a brand new car because then everybody has problems. The general
Yes.
manager, the salespeople, the finance people, the service department, everybody, and nobody wants that. So, again, it's not that they're bad products, it's just that we want you to be able to understand these products, the contracts, the cost, get ahead of it.
And to know that they're and like we keep using this term, whether it be on interest rates or even on the products, that there is a spread between what it costs. And when we talking spread, okay, you know, Nutella is a spread, uh, cream cheese is a
Cream cheese, schmear.
schmear. But in finance, the spread is the difference between either what the product costs the dealership and what it's sold for, or what the interest rate that the dealership gets and what they sell that interest rate to the customer for. And so we want you to be aware that there is a spread between all of those items.
You
Now, if
got
I
it.
may, one of the things that in finance that you know better than most is the proliferation. Oh my God, that's a big word for a
Wait, stop. Let
yeah,
me look that.
yeah,
Proliferation.
proliferation, you know, I'm a college
Okay.
dropout, what can I tell you? Um, of products that are available for sale in the finance department. And I know you have some interesting information about what was it, a dealership in Florida that did
Yes.
something a little different. What was that?
I was reading an article in automotive news recently about a dealership in Florida that has cut down their number of products. They find that by selling fewer products, they're doing much better. I'm a fan of this. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes into it, and they're probably making more money this way. But okay, let me ask you. I have a question for you, Ray,
Okay.
because everybody's different this way, I feel. If you're standing in the grocery store and you're looking at a product that you want, are you the kind of person that wants to have many choices of that product? Or are you the kind of person that, wow, I wish I only had like 3 decisions to make, it would be so much easier?
Well, do I want to go to a full service grocery store, or do I want to go to an Aldi where if I want peanut butter, I have one peanut butter I can choose from? Me,
That's yes,
I want to go to the full service grocery store. That's just me, but I understand the concept when it comes to finance products, because the truth of the matter is, um, that if the amount of products you have to convey to the customer in a sales pitch, and that's really what it is. Um,
yeah,
if the list of those products is way too long, then at a certain point you lose the customer altogether, because the process just drags on too long. Which is
bingo, yes.
which is why that dealership in Florida said to themselves, you know, the products that have a very low penetration percentage, as far as people buying, we're not even going to offer them anymore unless somebody asks for it, because we know that we're losing the customers who want to buy stuff because we presented them with too many options.
Right.
So
Yep.
so I get where you're going with, you know, do you want 3 choices or do you want 30 choices? And yes, in that case, I'd probably only want the three.
What I don't know about
Yes.
this article and about this dealership in Florida is I don't know because they didn't say, did they take those products that weren't selling so great and stick them on the front end and they're making you buy them, which frosts our cookies,
Yes, it does. Our
right?
collective cookies, our collective
Collectively,
community cookies.
yes. And it's Christmas time
Yeah.
and there's lots of cookies,
Yes.
lots that could be being frosted right now. So
Yes.
I don't know that they didn't disclose that. and they rearranged their pay plan in such a way that they have lost what they call big time sellers, national top sellers in their F&I department, and I think in sales as well. So it really, there's a lot it didn't tell me. What it did tell me is that they just cut down on the number of products. I'm a fan of that. I'm a big fan of that.
I know one of the things you and I did discuss prior to the show, and folks, when I say we discussed it prior to the show, I'm talking like, I don't know, a minute or two before I tried to
Yeah.
figure out how to hit the go live button. Okay,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so we didn't spend a lot of time on this, but I can kind of sort of envision in the future with where we're hearing more and more about subscription items within the
Yeah.
cars, the software items.
Mhm.
Do you think that there will be different products that will be able to be sold in F&I? For instance, one of the things that you and I discussed was there'll always be vehicle service contracts. Okay,
Mhm.
which are basically mechanical breakdown protection in case you have issues like that. Do you think at some point somebody's going to design a program for software failures and things of that nature that we could see, because they're going to more and more subscription? Because if it's a subscription item and it fails, what happens? How do you get it handled? And will there be insurance products to cover that?
Wow. What a great question. Okay. The reason that software products and connectivity are not covered in an extended warranty of today is because it's unseen. The connection between your vehicle and that satellite is unseen. So I don't know who's at fault here. Is it your car? Is it the satellite, maybe? So those things aren't covered. Are they going to come with warranties in the future, these subscription services? Wow, what a great question.
Y-
I sure hope so. And
Yeah.
here's another thing. Will people be able to negotiate the price of those subscription services like they can in the F&I office on products currently?
You know, I would say if the subscription is set up by the manufacturers, for instance, Toyota is going to be doing it with the remote start on their key fobs, where
Mhm.
it's either $8 a month, and I'm not real good at math, but that's $96 a year, or
Yep.
you could buy it for $80 for the year, and so you get like 12 months for 10 months. Um, if it's set by the manufacturer, then I you wouldn't be able to negotiate it per se. Now, if if it's set up in the finance office
Right.
to to and if the customer doesn't realize that Toyota says it's $8 a month, but the people in the finance department say, it's $16 a month, but if you buy it up front, we can get it for you at $12 a month. Um,
Who,
uh,
who,
yeah, I
yeah, who's to say? I'm really interested to find out how this is going to go. And I'm also interested in how many subscription services are going to come out.
well,
Lots of them I foresee.
yeah, when you realize the amount of revenue that these manufacturers are projecting that they can get from selling these software subscriptions and updates. Stellantis is thinking that it's going to turn into a $23 billion business above and beyond what
B
they
with a
make
B,
selling cars. Yeah, B with yeah,
with a B.
and exactly, and you see Toyota going into it, and the others. I mean, they see this as a low cost way to be able to generate huge sums of income. Oh my God, I see Zach in the background. Huge sums of income. Um,
There he is.
well, look at that. I got me a holiday kiss.
You did. You did. Oh, that's so
um,
sweet.
so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There's one last thing that I wanted to go over because we're coming up on 30 minutes. Believe it or not,
No way.
yeah, I'm telling you,
Can I
20.
just say something?
Yeah,
I'd like to say something really quick.
yeah,
What I foresee on these subscription things will be upsells
yes.
in the finance office. There's going to be extra stuff. I just know it.
they'll figure out a way. I mean, because like
Oh
if
yeah.
it's $80 a year, they're going to go, well, if you sign up for 6 years, I can get that down to $70 a year for you or whatever. But there'll be ways that
Whatever. It's going to be something. Yeah.
yes. Now, here was a little something that I thought of for our community members out there who might be leasing cars. You and I did discuss this briefly before the show. Um,
Okay.
of For those people who have a lease car
Oh yes.
whose lease is coming due, and you don't want to buy it out at the end, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because like if I said to you, if you give me $6,500 right now, um, I'll show you how that's worth $10,000 in 30 seconds. Because
Uh-huh.
because you could make 35% real quick. And that
Real
is
quick.
what, if you were to buy out your existing lease right now, you're
Yes.
buying it for about 35% below what market value really is. But if you don't want to buy it, if you have no need for it, don't just turn it in to a dealer. Create a bidding war. And here's what I mean. For instance, if you have a GM product, they won't allow a third party to pay it off other than a GM affiliated dealership. So
Yep.
so in most big cities, there are any number of GM represented branded dealerships, whether it be Chevy or Buick or GMC or Cadillac, and they're all in need of good quality used cars right now. I would, if it were me, I would
Mhm.
contact a multitude of those dealerships and say, I have X, my lease is coming due. Um, I'll be more than happy to turn the car into you, depending upon how much money you want to give me for picking your dealership as the place to turn it into. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's fantastic, and a lot of people here's the thing, through my experience, a lot of people don't realize that they don't have to turn their lease into to the dealership they purchased it from.
They do not.
That's 101 right there. So now that you know that, and you know the new rules that GM has set upon you for your lease turn in or trade in, um, yes, get a bidding war going. Take it in your hands. Take control. You've got control of this, and contact a bunch of GM dealerships. Well, this one over here is giving me this. This one over here is giving me this. What are you going to do? No,
Yeah.
I think I'll go over here to this dealership. I mean, take control, take the reins on that.
Either way, the dealership is still going to be paying less for the car than they would have to at the auction right now. And at
Yep,
the auctions, the quality of the cars is not going to be anywhere near the quality of most lease turn-ins. So it's a way for people to finally be able to take advantage of a situation uh, that normally wouldn't have. I mean, because
they wouldn't
typically,
have it. And
yeah, the
well,
residuals are typically less than what the value is, or more than what the value is, and this is the opposite of that.
absolutely. And quite frankly, people feel a little bit out of control. I have to give a shout out to Nick, who I had a consult call with this morning, who said he just had double hip replacement surgery and he would much rather go through that again than be out shopping for a vehicle in this market.
Uh,
So there's to you, Nick.
wow.
Um, so this is a yes, what a great idea, a great way to take control in a market that feels like it's very much out of the consumer control.
Yes, but we at YAA will always try and come up with different ways that we think can benefit you as the consumer, as opposed to, well, the dealerships. Believe it or
There you
not,
go.
Kimberly, we have been on the air for 34 and a half
I
minutes.
can't. I
Okay.
can't even believe it.
Now it's a little over a week before Christmas. So please,
That makes
everybody, be kind
be
to
kind.
everyone out there. Get your Christmas shopping done, um, and just, yeah, make the next week just the best week so that you can really enjoy Christmas a week from tomorrow.
Yes, with your loved ones, with your family. You don't have to buy gifts, make gifts. Handmade gifts are meaningful. I know, this economy is kind of wild right now, so don't just enjoy your family.
Yep.
Enjoy your friends and your family. There you go.
Treasure them.
Treasure them. 100%.
Yes.
100%. And like you said, be kind.
Yep.
Be kind, even to the finance manager at the dealership.
Even
Be kind.
even to the people that aren't kind to you.
Yes. Kill them with kindness.
Exactly.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
Kimberly, I want to thank you so much for spending well, almost
Thank
36 minutes
you.
with me. Yeah. And we did it.
Thank
I
you.
I think Zach could be out of
You
a
did
job.
it.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna push him out.
we did it. You know, I really enjoyed our time together today.
I did too. Thank you so much, Ray. And do you know where the end stream button is?
I'm about to hit it. Here we go.
Okay. Bye, guys.